Hello everyone, and welcome to the Week 7 update for the Dragon's Tavern here on the last day of July. This week we had a really good week. We had 24 different commits from 4 different contributors, which brings our total commits to 146 from 9 total contributors. And we are just wrapping up the 7th week, so we're a little over halfway, but still plenty of time to be involved. This week we had Chris come in and make some 2D horned hats for the background 2D characters. We had McFunkyPants come in and add some new materials and light maps into the tavern, as well as digging through and finding the Mysteries of Clark's Magic Academy students and put them inside of the tavern as well. And that adds quite a bit of life into the tavern, so I think we might run with that for the rest of the project here. He also added effects onto the mug bubbles and the gold coins glinting, as well as adding a second pass at the Cat of Mercy card, or the Kitten of Mercy card. And then Rob Tunstall went in and created the battle card sound effect, which we will hear once we get into the game. And then I added a couple of cards in their art. I got some help with Chris, and we did the opponent where they have a certain amount of currency that they can use on a turn, similar to what the player can use. And the player can move their card from their side to attack the opponent's side, and then it can return back to their side once it's over. And then cards, if their attack or defense reaches 0, then they're removed from play. Also went through and found the animations for those Clark's characters that McFunkyPants added, as well as added a couple more for card playing, because that was not in the original game. And then added a sound effect and added Rob's sound effect into the attacking animation, as well as fixing a couple bugs. So for our card art this week, we had McFunkyPants add his Kitten of Mercy card, which looks very Dr. Seuss inspired and looks really, really good. And then I added the Gnome of the Cottage, the Astral Otter, and the Court Jester, all with paint, because that's how high my skill level is. And then in Blender, I created a scene for the Cobalt Jug Band. So let's pop on over to the demo here. So here is Chris's 2D hat, and you can see a couple of the other ones that he had made here, a couple with no horns, and a couple of witch and wizard hats, and those are really cool. But we're looking more at possibly the 3D environment at the moment, where McFunkyPants came through and populated all of them with the Clark's Magic Academy characters, and if we were to hit play, we can see all of them are animating, and they're just kind of vibing and doing their own thing. I found the specific animations for those specific players, and they just kind of fill up the bar. And then McFunkyPants also came through and added textures to like the table and to the mug, and then we increased the size of the coin purse, and you can see a little bit of the bubbles from the mug in there, which may not be entirely visible in screen. Oh, yep, you can see it just a little bit in there. And then added textures to the wall, the background, and all that. So it just makes it feel much more alive. And here we have our opponent with their holding cards animation, which is not perfect, but that's kind of the intention. We don't want it to look 100% perfect. And here's a couple of the cards that we added this week. We have the Juk Band, the Otter, the Kitten of Mercy, and we can play these cards on the table still. And then we can hit our end phase, and we're going to see our opponent draw a card and then play a couple of cards. So there's his draw animation, and then there's his play onto the table animation, and the opponent can play cards in attack or defense position. Now let's take a look at attacking a card. So if we take like this 4 attack card against this 3 attack card, we're going to see it move over here. We're going to see a particle system. We're going to hear Rob's sound effect, and then it's going to come back to our area. And since the difference between 4 and 3 is 1, then this should go from a 10 to a 9. So everything is working just as intended here, and it goes the other way too. If we take this 1 attack card against this 4 attack card, we should see the kitten not make it, just like that. And then we can also end our turn, and the opponent can draw cards and then play cards again. And that is kind of the gameplay loop that we are looking at for this week. So it was a lot of progress this week, And as we look into the Trello board for next week, we're going to keep looking at possibly getting some more sound effects. We're going to wrap up the card art, so we only have 5 or 6 cards left for set number 4. We also want to create a winning state and a losing state once those life points reach 0 on either end. We're going to work on a save system if the player goes back out to the main hub where they can add and remove cards to their deck. Then that deck is carried forward into the live game. And then we're going to work on the opponent attacking, as well as the opponent tributing cards, and then checking to see if we can get some spell cards functional on the opponent's end as well. So it was a lot of good progress this week, and there's still plenty of ways to get involved, and we will see you next week.